All right, everybody, welcome back to the Say Yes Anyway podcast. These are conversations from the heart where there's something in your heart where you know that you have to say yes to it, even if it makes no sense at all.
Just
Maybe
say
you're
yes.
the crazy one,
Just say
but
yes.
guess what? It leads you to exactly where you're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, the super cool thing, if you didn't actually hear my husband's voice, we have Char Beck, my husband.
Char Beck. Hello, everybody.
So, this is a really, really, really exciting one. We have not shared our story publicly. Maybe a little bit's on Instagram. He's been obviously in all of the things except for on the podcast. And to share a full whole story, how do you feel about coming on finally?
This is great because we are trying to explain our life story and how we met and all that to our friends at times, and it just becomes this long conversation. So now we can get that out of the way. We can just say, listen to the latest podcast, and then we can go on with our lives and our friendships. So, anyway, we're excited.
Super pumped.
Yeah. But I couldn't be more excited.
Love it. So there was actually somebody today, because we're going to go through as we share our story. And by the way, you want to stay to the end because it's super crazy.
You have to.
And that's why we haven't actually shared it, because it doesn't make sense. Just like this podcast, Say Yes Anyway, that was truly our relationship the entire time. And you could not have dreamed it up, faked this. People tell us this needs to be a movie, a book one day. So definitely stay to the end. This is just going to be the first part. We're going to do more episodes because in order to fully share the whole picture, it can't just do it on one. So,
and we both really like to hear ourselves talk. So this is going to go over time, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, it would if we didn't stop ourselves.
Yeah.
But one thing that I wanted to say is earlier today, I asked a few people, and we're going to share a couple of them. But one person said, what was the first vulnerable thing that you guys experienced together? And this is why I say listen to this thing, because seriously, from day one, it's been completely vulnerable. And that's why we haven't shared all of this yet, because it's been wild. Mm-hmm. So we will be sharing all those vulnerable things with you. And so to jump right back in, if you haven't listened to all the past episodes, all of them are amazing conversations with people that have said yes to something so powerful. For us now, us and our life and our story, we would not be here today if we did not say yes. And it made absolutely no sense. So buckle up. It's crazy and
buckle up, Buttercup.
Buckle up, Buttercup. So, okay, to kick us off, I will share that Char and I actually met over 13 years ago over in Seattle. We both lived in Seattle. I was from there. He moved there, went to college, and we met from one of our mutual friends. Shout out Alec, and also a friend Nathan, who I traveled around the world and did missions with. And so we knew each other from there. We were friends, loose friends. I always thought he was cool. But there was no like romantic feelings or anything.
She thought I was cool, but not hot, I guess.
Yeah. And he was a photographer. And so I had a nonprofit at the time. And I was like, well, if you ever want to take photos for us, then you're welcome. Come on by. So fast forward. By the way, what did you think of me then? Do you remember?
I thought you were nice and cute and fun, but I was in a relationship, so
yeah,
I didn't.
So we had other lives, right?
It's like you're in a relationship, you can look at other girls and be like, "Oh, cool, you're nice," but obviously you're never going to act, or you never want to act on that. You want to stay committed.
Yeah, you're a good guy.
Because I'm a good guy.
Yeah. So anyway, we ended up fast forward 10 years from that time. Okay, so this is December. Well, this is this is like a couple of years ago, almost about 2.5 years ago, let's say. So I get in a really bad car accident. Okay. And at the time I was visiting my parents in Arizona. I was actually living in Barcelona, Spain at the time, which that's a whole other story of how I moved there. And if you don't know the story, it's so amazing. But my life was in Spain and I was visiting my parents in Arizona. I get hit by a car. Okay. It was a drunk driver. It was one of the worst things that's happened to me. And I still have things that have affected me still to this day. So I'm not okay. I'm like delirious. And I get a text message from Char, from this guy. Haven't talked to him in 10 years. I read it the next day because I was so out of it when I got the message. And it says, "Hey Jess, it's Char Beck. I wonder if you remember me. I saw your LinkedIn profile go, it came to my email and it says that you're in the coaching space. And I got a coaching certification. I would love to chat with you about your business. If you're ever open to it, we can meet up in person in California or meet on a Zoom." And so anyway, of course, in my mind, I'm like, wait, Charbeck, is that the guy that I know? Is that the person that I haven't talked to in 10 years? And of course, he says yes, it was. So we start texting back and forth, and I end up,
How did we start texting back and forth?
because that you texted me that.
Because I still had her number
Yeah.
from the time that we had met 10 years prior.
Yeah.
We exchanged contacts thinking that we might collaborate on something together. So I still had her number. I jumped straight over the LinkedIn hurdle and went straight to her mobile.
Yep. And oh, get this. So this was a crazy moment, and we believe that like God works in crazy ways. But 1 month later, or not even a month later, I changed my number to a Spanish number. So we wouldn't have, I mean, maybe he would have reached out LinkedIn, but I don't check all my LinkedIn messages, let's be honest.
Let's be honest, who does?
Yeah. And I probably wouldn't have given him the time of day. So the fact that that day he texted me, and anyway, so we're going through our messages, texting, and I tell him that I live in Spain. All of a sudden, he starts speaking Spanish to me, like perfectly on voice memos. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, who is this guy? And he tells me that
he's a unicorn, it turns out.
Yeah, apparently. So he tells me that he lived in Madrid when he was younger, and he lived in Ecuador. And he speaks Castellano, the Spain Spanish. And anyway, I was just like, whoa, this is crazy, because I had always desired and prayed for a man for my life that could speak Spanish, that could actually hang with my family in Spain,
because
that would love the culture.
Jess's mother, if you haven't been listening to the podcast long enough, Jess's mother was born in Spain.
Yeah.
So she's got the Spanish roots.
So I'm a citizen. That's why I lived there. And the fact that he just dropped into my life and speaks perfectly, loves the culture, loves, has friends there, everything. So I'm like, oh, this is interesting. But again, I'm thinking, okay, I'm thinking this is business. But I had these like thoughts in my mind of like, did he get married? Wasn't he married? And I was like, but if he was talking to me like this, there's no way he's married right now, right? And I was like, well, he has stories to tell. And fast forward, I asked if he still lived in Seattle at the time, and he said yes, he was there. I was shocked, because that following week, or maybe a few days after that, I was headed to Seattle to visit my sister. My sister was living there, my brother was there, and so I was headed out there. And right away he was like, oh my God. And I never go to Seattle anymore. So he says, I would love to pick you up and take you on an adventure. And I was like, wow, okay, that would be awesome. And we have a mutual best friend. So I was like, let's go see Alec and Victoria. And he was stoked about it. So, and how were you feeling? Because I know you were like excited to see me, but it was also business focused.
So I had just done a coaching program, and I was really excited to learn more about what it could look like to actually become a coach and to do it full time. Jess was doing that. I was really excited to hear what it's like to be a coach full time and run a business. And she was doing it. I was like, this is exciting for me to get time with somebody who does this full time, So that was the main draw for me. I mean, I thought she was cute, but I was just trying to be nice. I even told her at the time, you obviously need a new LinkedIn picture. It's been a while. So let's update your LinkedIn photos, maybe wear something nice to when we hang out. And I also was driving Uber on the side. And so I told her I would pick her up and just take her wherever she needed to go. Kind of two birds, one stone. We ended up wanting to hang out with Alec and Victoria anyways together. So it was like, let's just go hang with them together. But I also was thinking she needs new LinkedIn photos. Let's hook her up.
Yeah, and it was sweet because the way he said it, he was like, I know you've been through a lot. You just got in a car accident, and I would love to take some photos of you and just show you how beautiful you really are. And I was like, oh, that's sweet. So anyway, I remember the day comes where he's going to come pick me up. And uh, by the way, he drove an hour and a half just to come pick me up and then to take us, an hour and a half back out of the way, back to where we were going to go hang and see our friends. And then and all the way home.
Worth it.
So,
Worth it.
yeah. Obviously, here we are today.
Mhm.
But I saw, to me, it really mattered that he was a man of his word, that he was there, he was communicative, he showed up, and he had honey and a candle for me. I was like, wait, what? And he used these actually for his photography business. He would give them as gifts. And
I had a couple extra client gifts in the back of my car, and I was like, this gal's been through a lot. She's had this gnarly car accident. She could probably use a candle and some honey, might as well hook it up.
Yeah, super sweet. So anyway, he comes in, we hug, and I'll tell you, it wasn't like, for me, it wasn't like firecrackers and rainbows and butterflies seeing him, but it was like I hugged him and it felt like an old friend, like somebody that I've known my whole entire life. It felt like home. And even my sister was talking to my mom. He starts all of a sudden speaking Spanish to my mom. It was just very like, how have you been out of my life for all these years, So we end up driving away to go out to Seattle. And we even stopped by, I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to stop by my old hair salon I used to work at. My mentors work there and I would love to see them. And he was like, okay, sure. So he was super flexible, down for the ride, met them, took photos of us. Like, just, it was so awesome. And I was like, okay, he's super chill guy. And then we're driving, and he had told me that he had a lot of things to share, right? Like, we're going to catch up on 10 years. And he was like, it's been a crazy ride for me. I'm sure it has for you. And while we're driving, all of a sudden he says, I was going to wait until we sat down for coffee for me to tell you all this stuff. But I got to be honest with you, I got nothing to lose. I'm just going to tell you everything. And he said that within a 4-month span time that he ended up having a divorce, he had a stroke in the mountains of Ecuador. He had $150,000 scammed from him, and he was still smiling and like laughing, and this like generous, genuine guy. And so I was like, whoa, okay. And so I'm listening, and I mean, I hear so many stories that nothing phases me, right? But I'm definitely not thinking this is like romantic at all. I'm just like, okay, maybe today becomes a therapy session. Sounds good. So we go on, we're adventuring, we have a blast. He takes photos of me, and we do like a million, we do so many things.
We did?
We did. We went
I
to
don't think we did a million things.
Okay,
we just
fine.
did a
We
few.
did a few. We went and got donuts and coffee because donuts are your favorite.
Because I love donuts.
And then
Did I take you to General Purpose?
Yes, and I don't like donuts.
So we went and got
because I was like, you know what? It's your favorite. I gotta try it.
Yeah.
And then we went to lunch, and I told you that I eat really clean. So you took me to some like yummy, healthier restaurant spot.
Yep.
We shared stories. We went and took photos. So you did a photo session with me, which was fun.
Yep.
And then we went on a nature walk. And so he took me out to some waterfall thing, and we were actually,
if anybody knows the Seattle area, it's called Snoqualmie Falls.
Yeah.
I at the time had a permit there to take photos because I was doing a lot of surprise proposals down by the Snoqualmie Falls. It's a really pretty background, and I did a bunch of surprise proposals and planned the whole thing out. And so I wanted to take Jess down to a very sweet, gorgeous place. I thought might as well take photos of her down there.
And we were going to actually jump in the water, but while we were walking, I was like, there's no way. Like, it's like pitch black now. There was a bridge that was completely broken, so we would have had to like go through the rocks and the water. And so I just told him, I was like, hey, like, we should go back. My gut is saying we should turn back around. And he's like, okay, I trust you. So anyway, after that, I remember, so I was still not doing okay because my head was throbbing, my neck, like everything was like not feeling well at all. And all of a sudden I tell him, I was like, hey, it's not like I don't like talking with you. I actually do, but we're in the forest. I love silence. Can we just walk in a little bit of silence? He's like, absolutely. So we're walking in silence. The moon is just gorgeous and it's up there. And all of a
The
sudden,
sun was getting lower.
no, it was already,
Was it
it was
already
gone.
down?
Yeah, it was pitch
Oh,
black, honey.
okay. It was pitch black. I didn't realize that we had gone pitch black. Did
Yes.
I bring my headlamp? Or did we have
Probably. I don't
we had
remember.
our
We had our
iPhone
phones. Yeah.
lights? Okay.
But we're on our way to
Okay.
Victoria and Alex's house.
In
And
the
so we
car.
needed to get there and we
Oh.
still had like an hour drive.
Oh,
So
okay. So we had to get
we
rushed
had to
back
get
to the
there.
car.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, but while we're walking, all of a sudden he turns to me with the beautiful moon and he said, what would you say if I wanted to kiss you right now? And I was like, I'd be into that. And
I think you said I'd be down for that.
okay, I'd be down for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I said that. And what's so funny though is I like kissing. Like and you know what? I thought that this was probably the last time I was gonna see him for a very long time. And I was like, what is it gonna hurt if we give each other a kiss? So anyway, we end up kissing under the moonlight. Apparently that's his favorite story to tell. And
yeah.
and
That was epic.
yeah. And I remember getting to the car, like, what in the world just happened? Like, this is so strange. Like, we just had this amazing day, but I'm headed back to Spain in a few days. We're about to go see our mutual best friends. We can't tell them what just happened because we don't even know what the heck just happened. Yeah. And this isn't going to be anything anyway. So let's just not. So, anyway, we get to their house and we have that conversation. We were like, let's just not tell them because nothing's happening here.
Yeah, but I couldn't hold my tongue because when I'm excited about something, I got to tell the world.
Well, but you didn't. So we get there. He actually didn't tell them.
I didn't?
No.
Oh, okay.
But the funny thing, and Alex said this at our wedding, is that he was totally googly eyed over me and just like into it. And here I was like pushing him away. And Alex said that that's what was going on. And so he's thinking
she was playing it coy.
No. And so Alec is thinking, oh no, like Jess is amazing and Char's killing it. Like
he's like ruining the vibe,
brother. And he's like, Jess hates this guy, not hates the guy, but it's just like he's feeling sad for you. He's just like, dude,
he was worried
out.
for me.
Yeah, he's like, chill out. Jess is awesome, but you're not playing smooth.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, I was definitely like arms up, like this is too weird. Your story of what you were going through, what you told me, it was a lot, right? It was like too much at the time and it didn't make any sense. And I lived in Spain and you were in Seattle at the time. So we get back in the car. So this is day one. I got to tell you, this is day one.
This is maybe after 6 hours of hanging out together.
Yeah. So he's driving me back to my sister's house
in Federal Way from Seattle.
And all of a sudden he says, so what do you think about us? And I'm like, us? I'm like, there is no us. And I'm pretty straight up at this point in life. I've gone through a lot of things. I don't need to sugarcoat anything anymore. And so
of course, I didn't need to either because I had just lost everything and I had nothing to lose.
Totally.
So I was like, so what do you think about us?
And I was like, there is no us. So then he said, well, I'm actually pretty similar to what you just said. He said, I know what it's like to lose everything, and I know what it's like to be on the other side, and I don't want to lose what could be so good, which is you. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, well, I mean, is your ex-wife crazy? Like, how is your health going? I knew that he'd been going through lots of healing things. He has a somatic therapist. Like, we talked like deep things, and he was like, I'm not saying that we're getting married tomorrow. I'm just saying I really want to see where this can go. And all of a sudden, this flashback of me praying a month before that was about, God, like I am a specific type of woman. I am all over the world. I go where I feel God calls me to. I'm going to need a man that is very specific for me, that cares about the same things and is also straight and in my face about it. That's clear with me.
That's right.
And I was used to a lot of like wishy-washy and a lot of people that you know, like if it's in it for them and whenever it works for them. And nobody that was so clear and confident in themselves and in me. And so I remember that prayer and I was just like, oh my gosh, is this what I've prayed for? But like it's coming out in such a weird, different story than I ever imagined. So I just decided, I was like, you know what? Like I'm down to try. I was like, you really don't care that I live in Spain and we're going to be completely separated?
I told her, I was like, I have a bunch of airline miles saved up. I speak fluent Spanish, so I can go and hang with your family out there. Why? What do we have to lose? You know,
Yeah.
like, let's just go for it.
Yeah.
This is to all you ladies who have that whisper, that knowing that you're made for more. You're made for more than where you have been going. You're not the same version of yourself that you were 5 years ago. You're the new version of yourself now. So you either have a business, you have a nonprofit, you're a leader in the world, and you know that you're pivoting. You know that you want to create more expansive goals. You desire to be a better version of yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And you also want to create the business that's going to impact more lives, that is more aligned with you, whether that's creating more aligned offers, whether that is speaking, whether that's podcasting, whether that's creating a community, whether that's launching something, a book, whether that's something else that you just know that you've been maybe playing small or holding back in some sort of way, and it's ready. You're ready now. This Dreams to Reality Mastermind, I'm so excited because we have 6 months where we're diving in deep with a community of women that get it, a community of women that are all ready to go to that next level, that are there to grow, that are ready to learn, that are taking their business and their impact to the next level and in helping more people. This is about helping those that you really care about. Maybe you have a story that you are using for a purpose. You're taking your pain into the next level of your purpose. And what you can do is you can contact me. You can go to my Instagram, which is Jess Dahl, JessDahl with an underscore, or you can go to my website, jessdahl.com. And if any of this resonated at all, let's talk about it. Let's see if this is for you. I want to make sure that it's an aligned fit. So go ahead. Don't wait around. Your next level is waiting for you. This is your next chapter that you're ready to start in for your life. It's time to start with that blank slate, and let's do this.
So I'm just like shocked. I'm like, what in the world? I did not expect this at all. Like, they're nowhere in my freaking mind. So anyway, I go to Spain. He stays there. Every single day we're in contact.
I stay there. Oh, Seattle.
Yeah,
I stay in
you
Seattle.
stay in Seattle. And he talks to me every single day. He FaceTimes me. He's also very, because of what he's been through, he was so empathetic with what I had been through with my car accident. And it was now at a time, let's say like even a month out, like I had to stop working. I literally, my brain hurt all the time. It took me 2 hours to do any kind of email. I was exhausted. I couldn't go to events. I couldn't really be around many people. I could walk for 10 minutes before like my whole body was like drained and I needed to lay down. And I just remember him being so thoughtful and caring. And I will tell you this though, if I did not have that car accident, I don't think that I would have given him the time of day, because I was the type of woman, super independent. I was very focused. I have a business, a nonprofit, so many things that I'm building and creating that
You didn't have time to make out under waterfalls.
I mean, I had that day, but that was going to be the last time, right? So, and we lived in two different places.
Right.
My life was set on living in Spain, and like maybe somebody would show up there or something. So, the fact that he was in it, then it was around February, a couple months after, and I remember you said I love you, and I remember looking at, we were on FaceTime, and I was like, oh, thanks for sharing. I don't quite feel the same way. And you were like, that's fine. You don't have to say that you feel the same way. I just had to share with you how I feel. And I was like, okay. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what is happening? Like, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't make any sense. And I was like, what do I do? So of course, just lots of prayer, lots of like conversations with mentors and people that I trust. And everything was up in the air for me. I didn't know what was next for me. I didn't know if I was going to be able to continue everything that I was doing before with my coaching business, with Wholeness Journey, my nonprofit. And Char also had a lot of unknowns too. He was picking his photography business back up, but he was also, there was still a lot of super unknowns. And fast forward, I was going to one of my brother's weddings in Northern California, and all of a sudden, so Char and I were gonna meet in Arizona together. And when I was about to head out to my brother's wedding, I get an email from his ex-wife. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, how the heck did she even find me? And we've never had a conversation in our entire life. They still had a kosher relationship. They were still like nice,
friendly.
And so there was nothing like crazy going on. But I was like, where did she even find my email? What is this about? So I read it. I'm about to go to bed. And she says, hey, Jess, I know how important you are to Char. And I also feel that it would be important to share this with you. And sorry to reach out to you under these circumstances. But Char is in the hospital and he just had these seizures. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, shocked. Like he was on a road trip down to meet me, and he ended up having to go to the hospital. And so I start crying, and I remember crying and like, why am I crying? And I was like, man, I care about this man. It was the first time I like really felt this care for him. And so one of his brothers actually gets in touch with me. They get my number through Char's phone. We had heard about each other, but never met. And we start communicating, and I get on the phone with him literally as I'm about to hop on a flight.
This is February of 2025 to put things into context. 2024.
Yeah, 2024.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. February 2024. There we go.
Yep. So I tell his brother, I said, hey, I'm headed to Northern California, and they took Char to his parents' house in Santa Barbara. Because while he was on his road trip, he was in Southern California. So hospital was nearby, take him to his parents. His brother lived there, his parents lived there. And I just told him, I said, hey, I would hate myself if I didn't come out and visit him.
And where were you? You were on
I was on my way to Northern California for Vernie's wedding.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So then he said, okay, let me talk to the family. 5 minutes later, he says, yes, the whole family says, come down. So I'm like, okay, this is crazy. So then we're like communicating back and forth, and his brother then texts me and he says, hey, or maybe we're on the phone. I don't remember. But I
think you were vocal.
Okay, maybe. So then he tells me, he's like, hey, Jess, I also just want to let you know that, we shared a photo with Char of you. And he looked at it and he said, oh, I love her. And they're like, oh, well, that's sweet. And so what do you remember? Like, what are some memories of you guys? And he said he didn't have any. And they were like, oh my gosh. And they tell me that. And I'm like, he has no memories of everything that just happened. And they're like, no. And I was like, oh my gosh. So now I'm like, I'm going to show up to his parents' house that I've never met, meet his siblings, see him, and I could be ready for this man that's not even going to remember me. So it was just so bizarre, wild, crazy. Like, I had to protect my heart, and I just basically was like, okay, like if he doesn't remember me, that was a few months of figuring this out, and I guess we move on. So I get there, and in the morning, because we didn't see each other that night, he was sleeping. In the morning, I hear my door open where I was sleeping, and all of a sudden there he was standing at the door frame and just staring at me. And so I was like, hey, and he was like, oh my gosh, it's you, you're real. And I was like, yeah, I'm real. And he jumps into the bed and he just hugs me like he didn't want to let go. And he was like, you're real. And I was like, I'm real. He's like, you're really here. I was like, I'm here. And it was just so crazy. And so after that, it was bananas. It was like, so his parents were there. I meet them for the first time. They welcomed me like they've known me forever. But it was crazy because we had to get close quick. Like we had to talk about trauma, about healing, about, you know, grief and like his past life, their past life, like everything they've known up until this point is no longer what they've known. And now all of a sudden their son can't remember, you know, so many things. And so we were all so confused and not sure what was going to happen. And Char just had to recover. Like he was basically like sleep, eat, and
I was going on little jogs, I think, or little walks.
at that point you couldn't actually leave the house. And then shortly after you started doing walks and jogs.
Okay.
But he had to stay under a certain heart rate level. But anyway, I remember it was day 2 and his dad even said, Jess, like, you're an angel for being here, but you can go. Like, we don't know what's going to happen with him. We don't know what's going to happen with our family. Everything's so up in the air and unknown. Like you can wave the flag and go. And I was like, I get that. And I was like, but I feel called to stay. And I remember there was a specific conversation where they were talking about like Char's past life and who he was today, because there were some differences, right? Like when you have a brain injury or when you have something like hard or a certain situation that happens in your life, it changes you in different ways. And so they were grieving that. They were grieving parts of who Char was or what they knew or his past marriage or their past life. And I told his family, I said, you know what? I fell in love with the Char that is now. And that like rocked them because they were like, oh my gosh, like she's coming in, not really, even though we knew each other, I didn't really know, like we weren't in the nitty gritty together. Right. So I didn't even know that past version. I fell for the man that is now. And so that really shifted something for them that they had to step into. And so I was there for a week. I was there a week and it was super interesting.
You were living in the guest room.
I was living in the guest room. And there was one day, this was nutso.
And let's just remind people at this point, I'm recovering from a series of seizures that I had.
Yes. And they think that it was from the
scar tissue left over from my stroke.
Yeah. So, and we have thoughts on like why he had the stroke, all that stuff. Yeah, we'll leave that out for now. Maybe that's another story that we can share.
Maybe part 2, huh?
Oh yeah, there's going to be more parts. So, there was this one day where I was actually laying in bed. I was going to sleep by myself, and I like in my heart, I felt like this. I love this man, and at that point, I had not actually said I love you or like really claimed it or believed it. Like it was this, you know.
Can I ask a clarifying question at this point?
What?
Did I, after the seizures and everything, you are now living in my house, was I telling you that I still loved you all the time?
No, it was super funny. You one day you said, so are you my girlfriend? And I just started laughing and I was like, well, that's what we've been saying that we are. And then nice. And then you were like, yeah, that's what I thought. So it was so funny. It was just, yeah. Thank God I'm not a horrible person because I could have made up anything and you probably would have believed it.
True.
But fast forward, I'm laying there in bed and I'm getting this feeling of you love this man. And I was like, there's no way I love this man. Like, this is way too crazy. We don't know what's going to happen. Like, there's no way. And I was fighting it. And all of a sudden I really felt God be like, Jessica, be honest with yourself. And in that moment, I just started bawling by myself. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this man. And like, just allowing my heart to open up. And the next morning I was chatting with his mom. And she ended up saying that she found this poem that she was reading. And it was about love. And she was like, I was thinking about love because of you and Char. And, oh, babe.
Keep going.
For those that aren't watching, he's crying right now. And I remember her giving me this poem. And she was like, yeah, you can go read this with Char. And I end up reading it with Char. And at the end, it said something about it was all worth the wait, and you're the hand I want to hold. And he looked at me and he said, am I the hand you want to hold? And I said, yeah, you are. And then he holds my hands, and then I said, I love you. And then he said, I love you too. And then he said, wait, is that the first time you ever told me that? And I was like, yeah, it is. And then you just said, I just want to gaze into your eyes and take it in for a while. So it was probably a good 2 minutes, and you just stared into my eyes and you like received this love. And I mean, he is the epitome of being able to receive love. It's such a beautiful, beautiful thing to be reminded every day of wow, like being so blessed to receive love. A lot of us block it out for so long, right? And that's actually part of Char and I's story. We blocked out love and the deserving love that we really are made for. And I love you, baby.
I love you.
So you guys are getting the inside.
And now I'm crying.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's good. That's good.
It is good.
It is a good thing. So
where do we go from here? How do we move the
yeah. So then
forward?
So then this is happening, and
you're still living at my house?
I was at the house for about a week. I had to go host a retreat. And at that time, it was actually about to be your birthday.
Okay.
So after I hosted the retreat, I came back.
Where was the retreat?
Your mom, dad, and I came up with a plan for me to surprise you. Okay. So I left for like 6 days, and then I came back and I surprised you. You were on a run with your dad.
That's right. Yeah. I was up at the track.
Yeah. And then your mom
I was at the Westmont track, if anybody knows Santa Barbara.
Totally. And your dad was riding his bike like with you. And then your mom brought me up there, showed me where you were, and at the perfect time, then I ran out and you were like, no way.
Yeah. Because I didn't think you were coming back, or I thought you were still on that retreat.
Well, we didn't know. Yeah, I told you I was going back to Spain.
Okay.
And but the crazy thing is I never even booked a ticket back. So it was like God's open door of I could go back. So that's when everything really started, was when I went to your place to see you after these seizures. Okay. And after that, we celebrated your birthday. Jeff and Lori and their kids all came over.
Was it my 39th birthday?
30. I think so. I think it was 39th, because you're 41 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, 39.
All right.
So fast forward, it was real. It was on. It was I love you. Both of us loved each other. Mm-hmm. And it was still unknown. I was headed back for Spain. I
was still broke.
Yeah. So he had no money. I didn't either. I'm now in $25,000 of debt from my medical bills from my car accident, and get home and I don't have family close to me. They're in other parts of Spain. And I was in so much pain at that time in my car accident. Once again, and it felt stupid because, you know, like you never think this car accident is going to make you be in this much pain where you can't work, you can't go see your friends, you can't do normal walks, you can't do normal gym stuff, you can't. And I was just so frustrated at my life and at my body. Like I was so frustrated and feeling like I was responsible for the healing. I was responsible for what this lady did to me. And I had to do a lot of healing work on the fact that this lady hit me out of nowhere, and it brought my life into a completely 360 unknown territory. He had something happen to him that brought him into a whole unknown territory. Mm-hmm. So here are two people that it makes no sense that we should even be together.
We were in such vulnerable
places. Like did not know if I was going to continue my coaching business, wholeness journey.
At this point in one's life, you really hope that you're on stable ground when you get to meet somebody.
Totally.
And you want to build your life with someone on stable ground.
Yeah.
But we were.
Yeah. And growing up, like I always saw things as, because I wanted to be with somebody that, like a power couple, like a couple that is on the same vision of life, and they love life and people well, and being able to be healthy and whole individually. So when you come together, then you can be that power couple that's healthy and whole,
Mm.
right? So here we are, two broken people in completely vulnerable places. And I remember actually his dad said something really powerful. He said, you know what? How amazing is this though? Where two individuals, how often do two individuals get to come together and literally create anything that they want, anything that they're called to, any direction that they want can start from a blank slate, can start from a foundation that they create together. And because we were very independent, he, had his old marriage, had his old life, his old career. I had my old life, career, everything. And here we are with nothing. And we're hoping and praying our family, our friends, our community, God, those are the only things that are holding us up right now, and each other. And we literally could not do it on our own. And so we spent 2 years going back and forth from Spain to Santa Barbara with these very unknowns of anything, of first, even in the beginning, are we even going to get married? Like, I had all these thoughts in my head of, what if he has another stroke? What if,
what if I have more seizures or something?
More seizures, and then what if I become a full-time caretaker? What if I have to, like, what if he can never make money ever again, and then I got to figure it out, but I'm a mess? What if, all these crazy, crazy things. And there was a moment where I had to finally realize I cannot live in the what ifs. There are people that they get together with completely healthy people, right? And all of a sudden something happens. They get cancer and pass away. Their loved one, all of a sudden has they used to have addiction, and all of a sudden they fall into their addictive tendencies. They had cancer, or they had like something in the family, and it runs in the family. And so I'm like, I could lose this guy and say no to him because of all these what ifs that I don't even know if they're going to happen yet, but I love who this man is. And in everything that we are, we align. Or I could give him up and go towards someone else that could look great on paper and in their health right now, but down the road, something unknown could happen. Well, and there were even a couple moments, remember, babe, when you also wanted to set me free because you were like,
oh, I kept telling her, I was like, if you got to go and live your life, and you're the strong woman you are, you got to go keep crushing it at your business. You don't want to wait for me to heal. It might take me a while to recover and get back to being able to shoot weddings again, being able to provide for you. I don't want you waiting around forever. So if you got to, if you love someone, you let them go. If you got to go do your thing, then please do your thing.
Yeah.
I'll love you either way.
Yeah. And that was actually hard to hear because I would cry, and I was like, I understood it, and I was actually thankful that he even mentioned it, but it was the saddest thing to hear because I was like, I don't want it to be anybody else, So we really wrestled with that of like, and one thing for you was about the holiness, right?
I think for me that was rooted in, I didn't believe I deserved her. I wasn't worthy of how amazing she was. She slipped into my life in my most vulnerable moment. I couldn't do anything for her, and yet she was willing to give me her entire self. So I think it was more about, I didn't feel worthy of having you in my life, having your love. Mm-hmm. So I kept kind of trying to push you away in some ways, or like stiff arm you. But I think I was also aware of your circumstances.
Yeah.
And I was aware that you deserved a man that could take care of you. Mm-hmm. And I didn't at the time feel like I could. So
yeah. Yeah. So that was something super hard
to wrestle with, for sure.
And it wasn't like it went away.
It didn't go away right away. No,
it was a long time, a lot of therapy. We ended up having some like counselors and mentors that we would go to. And we actually did the Camino. So we host these Camino de Santiago walking retreats, and Char came the second time, I think it was, and it was so incredible. That time actually I think because every time we saw each other, it was in Santa Barbara. It was like in his parents' house. It was like healing and whatever. But for him to leave and come to Spain, travel on his own after all of these incidences, it was the first time since the stroke that he left by himself to travel super far, overseas anyway. And he used to travel overseas all the time. So it was like he gets to come back to who he was. And our time together on the Camino, and then he went to the village with my family and he met them, and we traveled, we went through Barcelona, he met all my friends. So many things that happened where I was like, wow, I really can see my life with him. Like we have the same values in life. He cares deeply about people as well. Like he wants to travel the world, he wants to impact people. We're the same DNA. I don't have to try to convince him of anything. And he gets along with my family and he speaks Spanish, and I don't have to hold him by the hand and translate, you know? And then that was the time where we were really like, could we marry each other? Because we were long distance, right? Like we have to at one point make a decision. We can't keep spending all of our.
I think I asked you if you wanted to move at that point, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
You're
you
like,
were
why
like,
don't you come?
I'm not gonna move unless you put a ring on it.
Totally. So, which is true. I would never
If
do
you
that
like
for
it, then you should have put a ring on it. Anyways.
I would have never done anything for anyone, even you that I loved. I was very clear on, no, I'm living my life. I felt called to move to Spain. If there's not a full-on commitment of I want to marry you and I'm going to put a ring on your finger, then absolutely not. I'm not moving for anybody. So, because it wasn't.
I was thinking to myself, I don't know if I got the money for a ring, and are you sure you want to keep doing long distance like this? Just because it was tough.
Of course,
we were 9 hours apart, you know, from a time zone perspective. So anytime we wanted to talk, it was nighttime, my time.
No, it's daytime, nighttime.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho, it was just tricky to go kind of work around our busy schedules.
Yeah. But we had to be so intentional with our time, so intentional when we talked to each other, intentional about the conversations we had, intentional, everything from the get-go was very clear of like, this is the type of man that I desire. And for him, you know, being super honest about things, me being super honest about things.
We didn't even really have time for superficial conversations.
Superficial conversations.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it really showed us a lot. Fast forward, I remember actually we were visiting, who were we visiting? Oh, we were with June and Russ. And we went to dinner with some of our friends' mentors at their house. And at one point, he was sharing some things about his own life and about him and his wife and their relationship. And one of the things he said, because he's always been a super hard worker, he, you know, paid for everything all the time, big up in the business world. And he just told Char, he was like, do not ever let finances get in the way. That is the last thing you want to get in the way.
Because I was telling them, I was like, you guys, I don't have any money. Like I can't provide for her. Like,
how do we
even,
it's not even possible.
Like, right? We can't move to Santa Barbara. It's like one of the most expensive places on planet Earth to live in. So,
but he was just so straight up and clear. And he just said, you know what? He told him that. And then he said, you know what, Char, shit or get off the pot. Like, make a decision. What are you going to do? Are you going to lose this woman, or are you going to go right in? And I remember that being a defining moment where he just had to hear from another man, you know, that he trusted. And on the way home, I did tell him, I was like, hey, I want you to know, if you asked me to marry you tomorrow, I would say yes. And I know that gave him a lot of confidence of being able to actually ask me, because
what was this, like January of 2025?
Yeah.
Would that have been okay?
Around there.
Yeah.
Near there. So he was coming out to Spain in March. We had already made that plan. And what we would do is every time we saw each other, then we would make a plan for the next one. So everything was so unknown. It was so in the moment. It was like we'd see each other and then it'd be like, okay, where are we at in our lives? Who can come when? And let's make a plan. So we knew he was coming in March. We had a conversation, and somehow it got to the fact of like, okay, like, we're going to do a proposal. So because we have to plan our life out, right? And he wanted me to maybe move to Santa Barbara. And I said, absolutely not unless we're engaged. And we have to be really methodical with our schedules. And we didn't know when the next time was we would see each other. So why the heck would we be waiting? So
Yeah, and I'm thinking I want to be romantic and do a grand gesture proposal. You want to surprise the girl. You don't want to just tell her, like, lay it all out there. But this is also a woman who plans her life. She's a life coach. So she's making sure her life's very purposeful. So it's like, well, we have to plan a proposal at some point. And I also needed to know what kind of ring she wanted. Because I was like, I mean, do you want me to go to the liquor store and get you a ring in the little
or do you want to get a tattoo?
Yeah, you want a tattoo ring?
So
so she told me what kind of ring she wanted. She sent me photos of it. So at least she knew that we were in talks of proposing.
Yeah. So I knew the month it was going to be because I knew he was going to be out there, but I didn't know how or when, right? And we were going on this week kind of vacation together out to one of the islands out off of Spain. My cousin lives out there, so we saw her. And so it could have been any time. It could have been in Barcelona. It could have been while we were on that vacation. Who knows? So there was it was so funny because I was working really hard. At that point, I was like trying to get back to work stuff, like trying to, it'd been already like a year and a half of pretty much doing nothing. So I'm like trying to get back into things. So I was working super hard. Had a lot of hours. I was like trying to get back into stuff. And so he was getting kind of frustrated, like, hey, can we just go on a walk? Do you want to tell them our proposal story?
Yeah. So the other thing I'll mention is she sent me photos of the ring that she wanted. And I'm like, okay. So I start doing some shopping around, and that's way out of my price range in terms of the photos that she was sending me. So I got creative. I went down to La Joyeria on Milpa Street, the Mexican jewelry store, to ask the ladies there if we could work out some sort of a discount to get a ring like this for a price that I could handle, because I'm still building from nothing. Jess is sending me a photo of a ring that's supposed to cost at least $5,000, and I've got $1,000 in my bank account. So I'm like, well, we got to figure this out. So I finally work out a deal with the ladies at the joyeria. We get a cheaper one that looks like the one she wants. I was like, is it fake? No, it's not fake. It's real diamond. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I don't know how we're pulling this off, but I found the ring. We planned this trip to get together, and I was thinking she's got to know it's coming. Mm-hmm. But and I had a very conspicuous pocket that I put the ring in that was just like tucked away. It wasn't in a box or anything. I just had it with me on the trip. So I fly out there, and we're hanging out in Barcelona, and I was like, I can't do a whole thing where like her whole family shows up, because it's just got to be a private moment. If it was a kind of thing where a whole family showed up, it would be because I wanted it. And I think I caught the vibe at that point that it was just going to be more special if it was just the two of us. So I decided to take her on a walk. She was all stressed out.
You had to get, like, they had to find out when I was open.
Yeah, because she had planned her life so intensely. Yeah, so I said to her,
trip,
I was like, hey, what if we plan downtime together? Because you're so busy. You got back-to-back meetings every day. How am I going to get intentional time with you where we can just chill and talk? So we planned a walk. I planned a walk in the middle of her work day. He's also talking
to his guy friends that he hops on calls with every week. And he's like, dude, bros, like I can't find an open slot to ask her to marry me.
Yeah, I can't get into her schedule. So I finally, they helped me brainstorm an idea. Well, what if you plan time for a nice walk, where you guys are just going out?
Mm-hmm. And it was perfect because it was a walk that we would do every day.
Yeah.
It was
It wasn't out of the ordinary.
my favorite park. Gorgeous, huge like fountains and water and like people dancing. And it's not like your ordinary park in the US. It's like this huge, massive, miles and miles of park.
And also, by the way, I was in chats with one of Jess's good guy friends in Spain. Shout out to Matt Dahlia.
Woo, 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 woo.
What's up, Matt?
Thank you.
So I took my camera with, and he's like, dude, I don't really have a long lens. I'm not in the photo game at all. I was like, bro, I will teach you how to capture the moment. It's point and shoot to some degree. It's like it auto focuses on people's faces. So just kind of hold the camera up and fire at will when you see it happen. So he was hiding in the bushes. We set the whole thing up. And then I acted like I told Jess, I was like, we're just going for a walk.
Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is I didn't expect it to be then, but I did notice some interesting things.
What did you notice?
So baby, you never wear your nice like khaki pants.
Oh, there you go.
And
he was
always in shorts. He's always in shorts.
True.
And all of a sudden, before our walk, he changes into his pants. And I was like,
whoops,
that's weird. Oh, and this was the funny thing. He says, you want to change your shirt or something? Because I was in like,
she was wearing workout
all black. And he was like, you want to wear something like with color? And he grabs me because he's a photographer, so he knows colors and things. Yeah. And he's like, you want to wear this one? And I was like, sure. So I didn't question it, but I was like, that's so odd. He never
when she looks back on it. When she looks back on it, she realizes, interesting. But
I mean, I thought it was interesting at the time. Yeah. I just wasn't sure if that was it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we go and then we get to our favorite spot and we're looking out, and then he asked me to marry him.
But how did I ask?
I mean, you were just so silly. You actually didn't say much.
I said, what would you say if I asked you to marry me?
Yes. You're like, what would you say if I wanted to?
And she's like, so like, are you asking me or... And then what did I clarify? I was like, hello.
Then you get down on your knee and you're like, will you marry me? So it was super funny. I was like, is this you asking me or what would I say?
I was trying to throw her off.
Yeah.
And it worked.
So anyway, he gets on his knee, asks me, and then it's like, yeah, so excited. And then the fun part, then Matt comes out. I have a couple other friends from Barcelona that they come out. They're celebrating with us. And
then we went to a little dinner afterwards.
That was perfect. So it was perfect. And then the next day we went out to the Canary Islands and we call it our pre-honeymoon.
That's right. We got some time away where Jess wasn't working. Thank God.
Nothing.
And we were just chilling. We went on walks on the beach and just did jogs around town. It was gorgeous. We got to meet some of Jess's extended family who lives out there.
It was actually super cool now. So those that are not married yet, or actually people that are married, you can take this as well. But we were so intentional. It was so interesting where what we did is when we woke up in the morning, we just let ourselves wake up whenever we wanted. And we ended up just kind of falling into kind of a ritual of breakfast and coffee. And then we would sort of feel like what we wanted to do. Most of the time was like a beach walk. It was out to the pool. But then there was something each day of we would watch some sort of relationship video, and then we would talk about it. So it was like real conversations about what relationships go through, like hardships and what you want for like the vision of your marriage. So it was
like relationship sermons though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't
right. They were like sermons. Yeah. But it was cool because it was right after we got engaged. I mean, we've always had intentional thought conversations of what we wanted, but we were so intentional with, oh my gosh, we're now creating the life that we want. Like financially, how do we want to be generous with our lives? Like what matters to us in our marriage? Like what type of people do we want to hang with and be with and environment and community and all that kind of stuff. And so it was so powerful where I would recommend it to anybody and everybody. So
another thing, I had been married before.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had had sex. It wasn't a big deal to me at this point. I was thinking like, hey, we're in the Canary Islands together. Do you just want to do it? And Jess was like very clear for me, even in the start of our relationship, even after we got engaged, she was like, I want to save myself for marriage. Would you please respect that? And I was like, I will. So we went out to the Canary Islands for a honeymoon. And I'm like, dude, this is killing me right now. I really want to do it. You're so hot. But I had to hold back. I had to wait, and I wanted to be respectful of her. And
yeah. And a few things, and that was something that I was very grateful for, because he really did respect me. He really did honor me. And yes, he was married before. It's not like sex was new to him, right? So I had to explain, like, for me, there's a few different reasons. Like, I actually am not one of those people that's like, if you're going off and you're having sex before marriage, like, I have my own thoughts for myself, but you can go ahead, do whatever you want. For me, what was very, very important, one is, so I've shared this in previous episodes, but I was raped when I was younger, when I was 21. And there was something for me of redeeming. I even knew, even when there were things along the way, different relationships and stuff, I knew that I needed to have a redemptive love story. And for when there was the time where there was the man that was truly going to cherish and like heal that part of me, of where I felt, fully, truly safe in who I was, trustworthy, taken care of, cherished, valued, worthy, all of that stuff. And so I was super clear with him from the get-go. And I wanted someone to honor me to where we could keep that sacred, and also being a believer in God and Jesus. And so is Char, where I also believe that like marriage is a union. It is coming together to be one. And no matter what your beliefs are, once again, I do not, there's no judgment. This is a personal decision here. But I also do believe that when you have sex with somebody, you are tied to them. There are spiritual ties, there's physical ties, you have to be so ready
emotional
ties. Emotional ties. You have to be so ready for the emotional baggage that's coming after that, where you now have a tie to this person, whether you like it or not, whether you say that you can shut out or you cannot. There's something there that you have now been bonded. And I was not willing to create a bond with somebody that I then have to go ahead and break off. And I have to work really hard on my own, like, emotional state, my own insecurities, my own, like, connection with this person that I created that is not fully going somewhere. So he honored me in that. And it was really amazing where we got to dive into this part of our, like, what we wanted in marriage. And he also had his marriage where it was not everything that he hoped and dreamed of. And where now he got to redeem that through our marriage and through our relationship, through our, sexual relationship. And so that's where I was coming from. And he caught on, even though it was like way harder for him, obviously, like you said.
Yeah, it was difficult.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, totally. I figured that was important.
Yeah. So, and there's so much more we can go into about that, but needless to say, so we have this time together, and it really got us clear and on this path of vision for our marriage and what we really wanted. And we were still super unknown with where we were going to be living. That was super unclear. At this point, it's March, and we're thinking of when we want to get married, and we
March of 2025.
Yes. And so we finally, my sister was getting married in September. There was no way we were going to do it before her. Then it's the holidays, so the next best time was January. And at that time, like I said, we didn't know where we were going to go. But we did finally, it was maybe just even like months before getting married, or before me leaving Spain. And there was the decision of either we live full-time in Spain, we live full-time in Santa Barbara, or we live part-time in Spain and Santa Barbara. And I was dead clear that
She had a room that she was renting in Spain.
Yeah, I had a life that I loved out there. I had like it was way cheaper. I mean, way more than half cheaper. It's great quality of life. It was like once I left America, I was kind of done with America. And so I wanted to be in both places. It's always been my dream. And he was down for it. He said, like, let's do it. Let's do both. So we decided that. Fast forward, it's maybe a couple months after that decision. And there was just something stirring in my heart. The Holy Spirit, God, my housemate at the time, I didn't want to hear this, but we were having a struggle finding another person to come in and live there with us leaving. And she said, well, why don't we just all leave? And I did not want to hear that, to be honest, because then that meant that my chapter there for this season was done. And so I was like, yeah, maybe. So I really sat in it. I prayed about it. And God really convicted me of, you know what? Like, it's time to be in one place together. You've been living this life back and forth for the past 2 years. It's time to be in one place. And that dream will always come to fruition. We both have a desire to have a retreat center out in Spain. Like, we want to keep going back. We have family roots there. We have friends, all of it. So it doesn't mean that it's not ever going to happen. It's just right now.
It's not yet.
Let's go back to let's plant somewhere in Santa Barbara. We need to be in one place together and grow these roots, and then we can keep traveling over there, which we've already been back to Spain since I left. So I left September of 2025 and
broke the lease, got out of there.
The lease. And still during this time, it was just very much like hands up. What does a season look like? We didn't really know. We just knew that we needed to come here and be planted. And we're not going to share everything for you of like what's happening, all the things that are going on. But one thing that we did want to share that's actually super, super exciting. So some of you guys know, but I have this nonprofit wholeness journey where we create empowerment workshops, experiences, retreats for girls and boys affected by human trafficking. And they all in the forms of identity, healing, wholeness, purpose, empowerment, and community. And Char came with me to Costa Rica. We did a couples trip out there for the first time last year. So powerful, so incredible.
In the past, Jess has only done women's trips.
Yep.
Just to put context.
Yep. So we do that, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, the prayers are being answered. I've always wanted to do this with my husband. I've always wanted to bring men on to start like building healthy men to be able to serve this population, but just be healthy men that want to serve the world and want to impact. And here we are. And so he is helping to start lead wholeness journey with me and start develop this men's side. And it's really beautiful to watch. It's so amazing. It's just another level of impact that I've seen before and in a new way, and how we get to use our marriage for so many things, for relationships, for walking with people, with couples, with those that have been affected by trafficking. We have a lot of different places. And so we're super excited to share more with you guys about that.
If you want to know more or want to be involved, want to help us fundraise, etc., feel free to reach out directly. You know Jess's info. Right, babe?
Yeah. You can go to jessdahl.com.
Jessdahl.com. She hasn't made the switch to jessbeck.com quite yet.
There's so many
changes.
The
name change. It's just a lot. There's a lot of red tape, And you can always reach out to me. Go to charbeck.net.
Yeah,
that is my website.
Get this man.
Or if you want to hear more about what we're doing with Wholeness Journey,
go
to wholenessjourney.org.
Yep. So, but that's one of the exciting things. It's so fun that we get to develop together and live here in Santa Barbara. One thing, so I want to leave with just one question that we had asked some people if there was a question that we could answer that you guys want to know. What would you guys want to know? And we're actually, like I said, this is part 1, so you're going to have to come back for part 2. So with this one, I'm going to have Char share, and I'm going to share my side of this the next time. So Char,
what's the question?
So we were both on a certain trajectory in our own lives before we reconnected, right? can you share how us reconnecting changed that trajectory for you? Like you were, before you were married, you had a different life that you were living, and obviously you had the stroke, you were scammed, all this stuff. But how has it reconnected you to who you are now, the trajectory that we're now on? Share a little bit more about that.
I will say that for a while during my past marriage, I was on a journey away from God. I was questioning God and very uncertain about his existence in my life, even though I could have looked back and seen so much evidence of his love and his care, being raised in the family I was raised in and the community I was raised with, etc. But I chose to question because I think I was just in a searching season.
Well,
with my ex-wife, and at that point, reconnecting with Jess brought me back to God in a lot of ways, because it was something that I always wanted and dreamed about, to be with somebody who was on my level, was willing to listen to the Holy Spirit, listen and be led by God. So I think I was on a trajectory of kind of walking away from God forever. And then meeting Jess was this invitation back to that intimacy with the Lord. And so in a lot of ways, that totally flipped my heart on its, it totally flipped my whole life around, because I was at that point. I didn't feel settled walking away from God. I was just doing it in a lot of ways because my ex-wife was on a journey away as well. And I was willing to go there with her because I was curious too, but it didn't sit right with my heart. I didn't feel peace with it. So getting to bump into Jess and kind of jump back into relationship with God was settling for my heart, and it made me feel at home. So that was a big turning point for me in my life and my heart. Yeah, there's me. That. So you'll share in the next part.
Yeah.
Your answer to your question.
Yeah. So that
So you guys, I think we are about wrapping up here. Is that right?
We are. We have some friends to meet for happy hour, but we're so excited. Thank you guys so much for
Thanks for listening.
Part 1 of this crazy story. And we just want to encourage you guys that if you have just something that you're wrestling with, whether that be just a challenge, a question of what is the direction of your life, what, do you have a relationship with God? Are you running away? Are you going through a healing process? Do you have no money? Are you in pain? Are you questioning? We have been there. We have been. Have you been divorced? Have you had a crazy health thing? Have you, just felt like you were truly at the bottom? Like, we have been there.
We've been
together.
We've been there, and there is hope.
There is. We're on the other side.
Yeah.
And, it's always a work in progress. It's not perfect. And we'll go into that even more of what we're still learning and where we're still growing and what's still coming up for us. But we're so excited for you. We're so excited for you and your journey and your life. And because we know that there's redemptive love, we know that there's redemptive love in your life too. So say yes anyway, whatever that means to you, whatever's in your heart, you have to say yes to that whisper. Take the step, even if it makes no sense.
And
even
this
if it's
is
crazy.
when we close the podcast. We do have to put an end to this.
Boom. Okay. We love you guys. We'll see you at the next episode.
Later.
Mwah. Thanks, baby. Love you.
Thanks. Mwah.